I'm Brandi Barnard from BrandiStamps.com, and I'm here today to show you a set of 4 awesome cards that are all made with a stamp set called Everyday Details from Stampin' Up. I'm really excited about these cards. They all turned out so cute, and this is actually a tutorial walkthrough video that goes along with my BrandiStamps Card Club. So all the people who signed up and participated in my card club for the month of April 2024 got a whole kit to be able to make all 4 of these cards, 2 of each. So if you're here with my card club members, welcome. Thank you for being part of Card Club. I love you guys. And if you're just popping by to see what I'm making, have fun seeing and learning and hopefully loving these card designs. And along the way, maybe you'll learn a little bit about my card club. I would love to have you join in. Right in the description of this video, there's a link you can click to get all of the details for how to be a part of it. I take new members all the time. There's no commitment at all. You can do 1 month or forever, whatever you feel like. And so let's get stamping. Let's start by taking a look at what my card club members received in the mail. So everybody got this whole packet of stuff. Everybody paid $30 to be a part of this. And so this is all labeled, so in case you don't get around to doing it for a few months, you'll be able to still remember which one it was. So this paper just gives you some of the information about everything that was included and the supplies that you need to be able to make the cards. These are the actual card kits, so we've got everything all labeled. Card 1, 2, 3, 4. You can see a lot of love and care went into the cutting and sorting and prepping of these pieces. Lots of pieces, everything is ready for these cards to be put together and organized so you can find it. And there's enough to make 2 of each card with envelopes, so it's a total of 8 cards. With your kit, you also always receive about $20 worth of product. So this time I featured the watercolor pencils. This is assortment number 1 from Stampin' Up, and the basic rhinestone gems. And so both of these items will get used on every project, so I'll just keep these out and keep them handy. And then before Card Club signups happened, I told everybody this was my stamp set of the month. And so people who want to join Card Club have a choice. They can get this stamp set so that they can make the cards exactly like I do. They can pull out stamps they have, and I love it when you guys do that. I love pulling out stamp sets you've already bought and creating the cards using my designs, but with stamps that you already had. That's great too. Or if you don't have the stamp set yet, I can actually include it with your Card Club order. And I even offer a discount month to month. Depending on the month, I'll offer different discounts. And so you can get a deal maybe on your stamp set. And then I always let you know what inks we're going to be using. So this month it was Pool Party, Pecan Pie, Basic Gray, and Early Espresso. Or if you have similar colors, it's like a darker brown, a medium brown, a gray, and a light blue. So you can use the inks you have, or you can get the colors that I'm using. And then I do a full PDF tutorial for each and every card as well. So you can follow along and make them with the video, or you can use the PDF or a combination of both, whatever you feel like. So let's look and see what's in the first card kit. Now, like I said, everything is in here to make 2 cards. In the video, I'm only gonna make 1, so I'll just separate this into piles. There's our 2 cards. Card bases and envelopes. We've got some vellum. There are these die cut circles. There's a twine for each card. There's a little leaf and a big leaf for each card. And then this little strip and this little strip. So I'll put these pieces aside and we can go ahead and get started making card number 1. You're always going to want some of just your basic supplies. So I always say scissors. I like to do the take your pick tool. This will help you place the gems. Basic adhesives, I usually use Stampin' Dimensionals, mini glue dots. My favorite adhesive is Seal Plus. So these are kind of the things that I assume you have or something similar. And we're going to start this card by using our Seal Plus. So on this card, you'll see the card base is cut a little bit short, so it doesn't come all the way over right here. Right here in this space, that's where you're going to glue this designer paper strip. So let's roll some seal and just place that. It should pretty much perfectly get framed up on the 3 edges. No, 4 edges really, because if you keep your card closed, you've got that 4th edge too. Okay, so this paper strip is from the delightfully eclectic paper pack that Stampin' Up has. It was retiring soon, so I wanted to use up some of my bits of this paper. You can see when the card's open, you'll still see that cute little paper strip. The next layer is going to be vellum, and it's this cute little striped vellum, and it's going to go right here. It frames up just about perfectly. So when you attach this piece, you want to make sure and only put adhesive in the center. That way it'll get covered up and the adhesive won't show. I don't know if it shows on the video or not, but you can see where that adhesive is. So when you're using vellum, you always want to kind of carefully put it so that it's going to be covered up. The next layer is going to be this one right here, and I'm going to stamp some of the pieces from the set here. We'll grab the pecan pie ink pad. There's this fun nest image in the stamp set. So we'll get this all inked up. I'm also going to ink up again and just stamp only the edge of the nest on the envelope just so it kind of coordinates. And I'm grabbing this greeting. It says, "You make every day a little brighter." And I'm stamping it on this long skinny piece. So before I do that, I'm going to ink up and stamp on my scratch paper. I'm just stamping where I think it'll be straight. Okay, that looks about right. I might want to tilt the Y down a little bit more. So now we'll try it on our actual paper. Perfect. The watercolor pencils are really a unique and fun way to add color to your projects. So let's just snip this open. There's a little tape there holding it shut. And check this out. These are actually designed in the Stampin' Up colors, and they're labeled here on the back so you can see which ones you've got. Plus each pencil has the name of it on the side. So this is my basic white. I'm gonna want that one. And then here's a pecan pie. And let's use old olive. Okay. So these are really fun because you can actually use them with water, meaning I could color with the pencil and then bring in some water and blend. Or I can take like a watercolor brush and pick up color right off the tip of here and paint with it. Or they can be used to dry as well, which is what we're doing here on this project. So I'm just going to come in and color some green leaves, just adding a bit of color to the leaves here. Okay, now let's jump over to our white pencil, and we're just going to have fun adding a little bit of white color to these eggs. Okay, so fun. I've got my eggs colored now. So let's go ahead and set these aside. And we'll go ahead and adhere the nest just with Seal Plus right to the center of the vellum. And then we'll work on a few little embellishments. So first of all, the words. We've got this little word strip, and what I did is I snipped it at a diagonal on both ends, just kind of approximately the same diagonal cut. And then between the word day and I just snipped that so that I would have two different chunks, and I can put one high and one low. I just used a couple of dimensionals to attach those. I'm gonna go right up here. Okay, so these are the only thing that's popped up with dimensionals. And now I want these two leaves to sit kind of like this here. So I'm going to take my piece of linen thread. This is about 10 inches. I'm going to thread it through this little hole and then through this little hole. And just kind of bring this about halfway. And I'm just going to tie a bow here. Okay, so I tied a knot. Now the one that's going downward, I'll make a loop with that one. Now I will wrap around, but it has to go behind. And I'll switch hands. This one goes to my right hand now. And there we go. That gives you a nice, pretty little bow. Let's get that kind of arranged the way you like it. And then just add a couple of mini glue dots here on the back so that we can hold this in place. Place this just right over here on the side. I don't mind if the leaves poke right off my front card plane a little bit there. We can adjust this, trim those just the way we like them. Okay, and our finishing touch on this card is going to be the gems. So we gave everybody this awesome package of the basic rhinestones. I'm going to use the Take Your Pick tool to apply these. And I'm just going to do like a medium one right up in here with a little one next to it. And then a little one just right down here too. Just to give us the perfect little finishing touch. And that is card number 1, all finished. I know when I was assigned this stamp set, I was a little bit nervous. This set was a little bit out of just my normal creative look. And so I thought, oh, this is gonna be a hard set to work with, but I actually love the cards that we did with it. So this is just the first one and they get better from here. So fun. I've got all the pieces here for card number 2. And on this one, let's go ahead and start with some stamping. So we're gonna do the envelope, the piece for the inside. Got 2 different pieces of white that are smaller, and then this little circle. So all the stamping on this card is done in basic gray. And a lot of it is done with this little flower and vase image. So let's just start by inking this up. And we're going to stamp it right in the middle of this one. You don't have to stress too much, but you know, the middle-ish. Give it some good pressure, but not so much that you will touch the center of that vase down. I saw some people giving a lot of pressure and it touched down. And then this little piece, we're going to stamp it again, but this time we want to mostly just get the vase on there. Okay, and then the piece that goes on the inside of the card, I'm going to just go over to this corner and just kind of get the little pink leaf there. I'll do something similar on the envelope. Okay, it's not pink yet, but that's the one that I'm going to color pink. That's funny, so I called it pink. But I'm just getting the big flower in the corner of the piece for the inside and the envelope. I've got my 2 little vases stamped. The other piece here is going to be for the greeting. This one comes in the set, wishing you so much joy on this special day, and it just barely fits on the die. This is the matching die set called Everyday Details as well. And this just barely fits on here, so you want to make sure that you get it just right. And that should be all of our stamping. Now let's jump over and do a bit of coloring. So let's go to this basic gray, and I'm just going to do some really light line coloring here. I'm doing this kind of on a diagonal. So my strokes are this diagonal look. And I'm gonna go the other way and get some almost kind of a crosshatch, just to give this vase a bit of texture. And now we're going to cut this vase out, and I'm going to use my paper snips. I'm going to cut right along the edge of the vase here. I don't want to cut the gray line off that is the edge of the vase, but everything short of that. So I'm getting as much white off the edge as I can. Okay, now that I've got this vase all cut out, what I want to do is tie this bow around the top of it. And so I've got about 12 inches of this silver ribbon. I'm going to find approximately the middle of the ribbon, and I'm going to stick it to the back of the vase. So let's just get one mini glue dot right on the back of the vase at the top and lay the middle of the ribbon. I could just tie this around. In fact, the first time I did it, that's what I did. But this just helps it stay still while I tie. So I can even kind of glue it down to my scratch paper here for a second while I'm tying. So I'm gonna make a knot. And then the one that's going down becomes the loop. The other one needs to wrap behind. And now I'm holding my first loop in my left hand right now, but I'm gonna switch. So I'll grab the new loop that I just poked through, and I'm switching to the right hand for my first loop. So just let those cross over, trim this off the way we want it. And then I'll use a couple of dimensionals to actually attach my vase. I've got this main vase of flowers that's going to be in the front of my card. And this kind of remade vase that's a little bit fancier is going to go right over the top of the original stamped vase. So instead of coloring the one that's on there, I just covered it right up with this colored one. Okay, and now we can go ahead and color the flowers from this vase. You can do them however you want. I will show you the colors that I used. So there's really only one green in the set, so I'm going to use the old olive to do my leaves. And then there's this Calypso Coral, which is kind of a darker coral color, but it coordinates nicely with the tag color we're using, so I'm going to use that on my big flower. And then there's a nice bright blue. It's actually just named Blue, and we're going to color these medium flowers with that. Then I'll use my yellow, this is Daffodil Delight, to do the tiny flowers, okay? Okay, I don't typically get super artistic with it, but on these flowers, like I started by coloring these blue ones pretty light, and then I'll go and use a little more pressure for the detail lines that are in the center, and it just kind of gives it a little highlight. I did the same thing on that Calypso Coral one. So now that I've got my vase all done, I'm going to pull out this cool little frame piece. This was just a cardstock layer. We cut the die out of the center right here, and we're actually going to use that same die that came out of there on one of the other cards, but it left behind this dotted line around the edge, and that's from the Everyday Details die set that goes with this. And then we've also embossed this frame with the painted texture embossing folder. And so this is going to create kind of a cute little 3D frame around here. So what I'm going to do is flip this to the back, and I'm just going to put a couple of dimensionals closer to the edge. Of course, I don't want them to show, so I won't let them touch the little holes there. But I'll go ahead and peel these. The white layer that it's going to go on top of is quite a bit smaller. I wanted to make it so if you stamped this crooked, it wouldn't create any kind of a problem. So now I'll just frame this up the way I want it. I'm kind of looking at the vase. Okay, now this might be stuck down to your scratch paper just a little bit, so lift it off of there. And then we'll come over here and we'll do a few more dimensionals around the edge so that it can hold on to our card front. I'm also, while I have this upside down, rolling a bit of Seal Plus just right here so it can touch down and stick. And then we'll come over to our card. So it just opens up like this. And we'll bring this to the front and we're just gonna frame it up so it has a cute little gray on gray edge there. Now this little piece is going to go right down here in the corner, and so I attached that by putting one dimensional just on the back where I knew it would touch down here, but then I also used a couple of glue dots where it's going to glue onto the frame. Okay, let's go ahead and attach this one to the inside of the cards. We'll roll just a little Seal Plus on the two edges. Now we've got a pretty place to write. Here's our envelope. We've got a couple more finishing touches here, just our little gems. So I'm going to jump over and get one of the biggest ones and put it here in the center of my big flower. And then I'll do a medium and a small right down here. And there we go, this is card number 2. Here are all the pieces for card number 3. So let's start by taking a look at this card base here. We've got a pretty peacock card base that opens this way with the fold at the top. And then this is the fine shimmer paper that was in our main catalog this year. And it is so pretty. I'm going to actually place it right down the center of the card, just like this. So let's roll some adhesive. This almost comes off like a tone on this card, but it actually has so much shimmer to it. It's just a really fine, kind of an understated shimmer. Let's look at the stamping that we're going to do. So this card uses the Early Espresso ink pad only. And we're going to use the little teacup image. So we'll start by inking up the teacup and stamping it right in the center of this white square piece. And then this large piece is the one that goes on the inside of the card. So I'm just going to do kind of the little flower edge there. Same with my envelope, just that little corner of the flower. And again, this one's going to say, you make every day a little brighter. And I'm going to stamp right on my scratch paper and just go, does it stamp where I think it is going to? Okay, it looks really good. I'm going to bring the Y down, same as last time, of course. But I always do that. I always try on my scratch paper so that I can get it perfect on my actual project. You can color this however you like. I kind of darkened my teacup and made it sort of an early espresso. So let's pull out that dark brown. I'm gonna use my green again. My original one, I did the coral flower, but I'm gonna try the purple one on this one, and then we can look and see which one we like better. Okay, so let's start with leaves. Now we'll do the teacup. And inside the cup, of course, there's tea. This is going to be a super dark brown, so I'm just giving it a little more pressure. Or maybe it's hot cocoa or coffee, I don't know. I don't know what kind you would put flowers on the edge of. This must be a really fancy place. Okay, and now let's try our flower. I'm just going to color lightly all over. Okay, and then I'm going to darken up the lines by the center quite a bit. This is a really pretty, kind of an orchid shade. Okay, and now I'm going to apply a little bit of Seal Plus to each of the 4 corners here on the front. So this is unusual, but what I want to do is be able to bring my frame down to it and have the frame stick where I want it to. So put a little adhesive in the corners on the front, and then bring this cute little die cut frame down to it and frame it up right where you want it. I'm going to put a glue dot in each of the 4 corners. So we'll go 1 here. So I'm going to come down from the top just a little and go side to side. Center it right about here. Now I've got a piece of gold ribbon and we're going to tie that around the bottom. Just make a knot way off to the left side here, so I'll tie it and tie it again. And I'm just holding that with one of my other fingers while I tie it the second time. We'll leave that for a minute. And then come over to this little guy. And what you're gonna do is just make one tiny cut right in the center, just a short snip, about 1/4 of an inch centered, eyeball it, and come straight in. Now I'm going to go over to the corner and come up to the top of that snip. And I'll just do that on both sides, and that helps me get a nice even little banner trim. We'll do that on both edges. And then in order to attach this one to the card, I'm going to put several dimensionals on the back here, right about like that. Just give those a nice push so that they connect down past the ribbon. They're going to stick down onto the ribbon, but if they touch down on the paper, they should hold there too, because dimensionals are awesome that way. They hold really well. Now I'll give these a cute little trim, just a diagonal trim. If this knot isn't staying or the little ends aren't going the way you want them, you can always put glue dot behind there. And I'm going to use one of my cute little gems right in the center. Whenever I have a dark card, I usually try to give it a layer on the inside so I can write on it. And then while I'm doing that, I can't resist stamping on it. Always got to have the matching envelope too. This is the distressed gold paper from our catalog. And then this circle die is from the Irresistible Blooms dies. And that has that really fun little frame effect for our teacup. So just imagine a little tea date with a friend. You make every day a little brighter. And that is card number 3. Okay, I have all the pieces here now to do card number 4. So I've got an envelope, card base. This is kind of a fun card base. The 2 sides fold together and meet in the center right here. And then we've got, this was the center from that other die cut that I showed you, the framed one on card number 2. This is the piece that came out of the center when I cut those, so I want to try to use that on something else if I could. And I wanted to use this flower vase image again in a different way because I think the flowers that are on it are super beautiful. So this time we're not going to have a vase of flowers. We're just going to focus on using the flowers. So I'm going to start by coming in once from each direction and kind of stamping around on this gray piece. So just something like that. Get some stamping all the way around there. And then here on this smaller piece, I'm going to stamp my greeting here. So let's do that first just to make sure that we have room for it. So we're gonna kind of, instead of stamping this in the center, we'll bump over to the right here. Something like this. Overjoyed for you in this new journey. And now we'll ink up these flowers again. And we're just gonna do kind of the little 3 flowers. Stamp it closer than you think, because usually it's stamping a little farther than you think it is. So yeah, there's my little 3 flowers and leaves. And then we'll throw those onto the envelope as well. Just like that. And that's all the stamping in gray, so we'll put that aside. Okay, let's add just a little bit of coloring here. Green for the leaves and a little bit of melon mambo for the flowers. And this piece is going to get centered on the gray layer just with some Stampin' Dimensionals. So let's go ahead and do that. One fun thing on this card, now that we have this piece done, we can kind of line it up and see where it's going to go on the card front. And we're going to use this cute little speckle piece that comes in the stamp set to stamp some pool party dots just all around the edge. I'm going to use this to line up where I want my stamping. And now I'll just scoot it down a little so I can stamp here. We'll just turn this kind of back and forth. Okay. I think that'll do. And now that we have that done, I'm going to glue this, but just on the left side. So I'm going to make sure when I flip this over, I'm putting a fair amount of adhesive, but only on this side. And I'm not touching the little circle holes. So I've got quite a bit. Make sure it's centered the way I want it. And stick it down really well over there. Now I have these two cute little sprigs. These are both punched out of the bow punch. And I've done one with the soft shimmer paper and one with the luster paper. I'm just going to tuck these kind of right back here and attach them with glue dots. Let's use the point from the Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to get a glue dot with it. And then I'll just come right under one of these leaves and stick it down. And I want it to kind of flip up and be just a little organic. I don't need every single leaf glued down, just a couple. The mini glue dots hold really well. So let's sneak under this one too. Something like that. Okay. And then I've got this little piece of twine. You can thread it through under one of your bows if you want, or you can just tie a bow. Get it looking cute however you want it. And then use a teeny tiny rolled up glue dot to glue it on. So to get a rolled up glue dot, I just kind of lift and use my fingertip. I roll, that one's being stubborn. Roll it up just like, kind of like a little cannoli, so it's just a little skinny thing. And then it's easier to hide it right behind that cute little knot. Tuck that right on the corner here. Let's trim these ends a bit. Take your pick tool. This time I'm using only the tiniest gems because I'm putting them in the centers of these flowers. And there we go. That is card number 4. Okay, here's one last look at all 4 of the cards all together. This was a super fun group of cards to create. It's been fun to make with friends. I hope you guys will have a lot of fun making these at home if you're in my card club. And those who are not yet in my card club, check it out. There's a link right there in my description where you can click and go get all the details for how it works. And I will catch you guys next time. Make sure and subscribe so you'll see all my videos. And happy stampin'! Bye!